What's up, everybody? This is episode 20 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Thanks for the support that you guys have given us thus far with this platform. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram TV, and our Facebook page. But without further ado, we have none other than Queens High School construction head coach, Mr. Cory Semper. Cory, thank you for coming on to talk to us.
Not a problem, Dave. Not a problem at all, man.
So my first question for you is, what's your coaching philosophy?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I discuss this with Billy Turnage every year before the season. It always depends on what kids I have, the type of what style they can play. You know, it changes. I like to have the same philosophy. I like to run. I like to press. But I also like to control the game like a chessboard. You know, I try to run some plays, misdirection stuff to confuse defenses and stuff like that. But most of the time, you know, run and press. It's the typical New York City game. But I'm a more of a press off and on guy. I don't like having my guys, as we would say, 32 minutes of hell. I'm not really a big fan of that. More like in spurts. I like to press in spurts, depending on free throw situations, if we're up, if we're down, you know, stuff like that.
Awesome. So when did basketball first become a part of your life?
It's funny. It's funny that you say that. You know, I played. I don't want to lose you, so hold on 1 second, Dave. I just saw that my thing is dying.
Cool.
So, I've always liked basketball, right? Growing up, you know, in my neighborhood, you know, we were lucky enough to tap into every sport. So I thought I was going to be the next Mookie Wilson until I was like in the 7th grade. So I played baseball. I loved baseball. You know, that was my passion. Every day was baseball, softball, stickball. You know, most of the times we played stickball. I pitched. I had a nice little arm. And actually, I was one of the top players in the city in 6th grade. And then when I moved to the 7th grade, they moved me up, you know, because you get older. And then they moved me to center field, and I hated it. So
Wow.
I probably played half of that season in 7th grade, and I quit. Then I started playing Pop Warner football. And then because, you know, I'm not the biggest dude, so at my age, I had to play my age limit, which wasn't my weight limit.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So on one day I got hit pretty hard. So ever since then, jump shots has been my thing, man. So I would say around middle of 7th grade, I started playing basketball, and I started really falling in love with it, with the guys in the neighborhood. I had a lot of older guys in the neighborhood that were pretty much legends, man. High school legends, you know, park legends. You know, I met Tim Briscoe at a young age, who was my assistant coach. A cat named John Pedro, who actually taught me the game, played at Jamaica High School, was scoring 50 at Jamaica High School here and there, and they didn't have a three-point line. And then, you know, Ernie Dowse is from my neighborhood. A lot of people don't know who Ernie Dowse is. If you're older, you do. He played at Boys High. Was Jerry Tarkanian's first recruit at Long Beach State. He's in Jerry Tarkanian's book. Transferred back to LIU, had some bad surgeries, played in Europe. But Ernie Dowse was huge. Emmanuel Phelps, is Derek Phelps' pops, who played at North Carolina, is from my neighborhood. Derek Phelps is family to me. I talked to Derek. I just spoke to him a couple of days ago. So being in that circle, you know, I fell in love with ball, started played in junior high school, played in high school, you know, had opportunities to play in college, but, you know, I was a knucklehead, so I probably went to like 4 schools in 3 years. So it was, you know, I had to figure things out. And then one thing led to another, man. Got into the Board of Ed. Started coaching first with Jason Curry at Big Apple Basketball is where I got my start. You know, doing clinics and stuff with Jay. You know, I've known Jay for a long time, played against Jay at high school. Started doing that. And then Molloy College was looking for an assistant coach, a volunteer assistant coach, actually. So I did that for a couple years. And then, you know, I played at Bayside High School, and I did my student teaching there. So the athletic director, Joe Capo, at that time, I was the assistant coach at Molloy College. And I never wanted to be a head coach. Never. Didn't want to be a head coach. Spoke to Billy Turnage about it again because he's my, like, anything I call Billy. Like, Billy and I grew up together. Even though Billy coaches in the Bronx, Billy's a Queens guy. You know, Billy lives in Queens. Billy's an Andrew Jackson guy. Not a campus magnet guy. Billy's an Andrew Jackson guy. And he was like, yo, give it a shot. Ain't nothing like coaching your own team. And since then, you know, I fell in love with it. I love it. I love being able to do for the kids and staying on top of them in school. So it's been my journey since then, man. It's fun, man. It's fun. It's a lot of hard work. You don't always get what you put in, but when you see your kids graduate and move on, whether they're going to college on scholarship or not, that they're going to college, it's just a great feeling.
So, you know, what part of Queens did you grow up in, and what's the basketball culture like in that borough?
Well, I live in when I was growing up, it was called Flushing. Now they want to, like, change the name and call it Fresh Meadows because we've become gentrified. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
the houses are more expensive, the neighborhoods are more expensive. I live right in the middle of John Bound, Hillcrest, and Jamaica High School. I can walk to all three in Edison. I live right in the middle. I live maybe a half of a mile away from St. John's University.
Nice.
A lot of my high school time at St. John's because I made friends with Billy Singleton and Chucky Sparlin. Malik Sealy was a good friend of mine as a young guy. And then as I got older, my best friend's name is Jamal Robinson. Played at McClancy, University of Virginia. And he played for the Miami Heat for a little while. And then he went overseas. Spent a lot of time going with them up in St. John's and playing. And then I met a kid named Tariq Turner who ended up going to St. John's. He lived in Virginia. And we became real good friends. So I was always at St. John's and in that area. And now the basketball culture in Queens, it's tough to say because it's always up and down because whenever I look at other public school rosters, there's kids from Queens on those teams and they be in different boroughs. You know, so a lot of people don't realize it, that some of them guys that are on them teams that are putting in work are Queens kids. They just willing to go out the borough to play ball, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So why do you think that is? What's wrong with the schools in Queens? Like, you have Christ the King, Holy Cross, St. Francis Prep, all three great Catholic schools, and then you have McClancy, St. John's Prep in the A, and you have the public school like your school, Cardozo, Bayside, and all the other schools. Like, why is it that they going out of the borough?
A lot of the times, you know, the kids, they go out the borough because their other programs are winning more and more opportunities. You know, you have some schools that are getting some type of sponsor that will pay for a team to go to Maryland or Georgia or Atlanta. You know, a lot of those schools aren't in the borough. I mean, in our borough, how many schools really travel outside of New York? I've done it maybe 4 times. And the 4 times that I went, you know, everything was paid for. It wasn't like I had to come out of my pocket. So, you know, it's just opportunities and sneaker sneaker sponsors. I'm not going to say contracts because they're not doing that like that. Getting certain type of gear, you know, playing in certain leagues. You know, like if our league was as tough as the Brooklyn AA, we would have more kids stay in Queens. I mean, Queens is pretty much a recycle. You know who usually going to be the top three teams in Queens. You know it every year. And it's not even to say that we're one of the best boroughs, but you know what it's going to be.
Indeed. So, getting back to you. So, you went to what were some tournaments that you like playing in as a youth?
Never used. Rise was always great. That's over in over by Green Acres and Montebello. The Bello was always great. Elm Core was always good. Elm Core was really good. They used to play out at 127 Park over by my man Darnell Snap lives right around the corner. High Energy. I loved going to the Brooklyn tournaments. I started playing with a cat named Todd. Todd's an older dude from over in the Rosedale area. No, I think Todd, over in the Rosedale, Springfield, right over there in that area. And Todd always took us everywhere. So we was all over the boroughs. But during that time, when I started playing, Todd was really good friends with Larry Major. Larry Major, God rest his soul, was the coach at Robeson when they won all those city championships with Todd Miles and them. So the teams that I played on consist of a lot of Brooklyn guys too. So going to those tournaments outside the borough, you always felt comfortable because half of our team always knew somebody. So high energy was legit. That was like one of the best tournaments we ever played in out in Brooklyn. That was over in I think it was in Bed-Stuy. I met a lot of people over there too as well. But those were some of the best tournaments that I played in when I was growing up.
Mm. Hold on 1 second. So, what high school did you attend?
I started off at Holy Cross. Didn't really like it. You know, I went to Catholic school from grades 1 through 6. I went to Holy Family, which is about a mile away from my house. Then my mom's put me in public school. So coming out of my public school went grades 6 through 9. So coming out of public school, when I first started playing really organized ball in the 8th grade. Played for St. Nick's of Talentine, which is over here off Union Turnpike in Parsons. And they recruited me to go to Holy Cross, me and a buddy of mine named Derek Etheridge. So I went to Holy Cross. And the only reason why I went to Holy Cross is because I met, Jamal Harris is from my neighborhood. He was at Cross putting in work. And Rich Ashby, who now lives in Arizona, that played at UConn and played at Rutgers, pretty much, talked us into going to Holy Cross. I didn't like it. And then I went to Bayside High School. I transferred over to Bayside High School and played with my brother because my brother was there already playing. So I went there and played at Bayside High School for 3 years. But me being a typical knucklehead, I probably played a year and a half out of those 3 years because I was never eligible.
Wow. So, what year did you graduate high school?
Graduated high school in 1990.
Okay, 1990 was a good year.
1990, I graduated. I went to St. Thomas More Prep School in Connecticut for I'm not even gonna lie to you, probably 4 days.
That's it?
That's it. I went AWOL, came home.
You didn't like that either?
That was my problem. I was all over the place. But at that time, Dave, I was going through some real issues and my father had just passed away.
Oh, wow.
So mentally, I wasn't ready to leave my mom's. And my brother was here. And my grandma was living with us at the time. I just wasn't mentally stable to do it. You made him, I left.
Yeah.
Abdul Torrance was there. I met Abdul, we laugh now because he's like, yo, I don't even remember you being me up there. Because I was like, yo, that's how fast I was gone. And Charles Minlin was there, who played at St. John's, which I still talk to Charles to this day. And it's funny because when Charles signed with St. John's, I was in the gym working out at St. John's. And he walks in the gym. He's like, yo, I don't even know what happened to you. I was like, yo, I live right over here. I just, it wasn't for me. It just didn't work out. And they were there. Stevie Frazier was there. And Stevie Frazier was a monster. Came out of Molloy. He went to Andrew Jackson. But I was in and out of St. Thomas More so quick, you didn't even know it. And then, everything just pretty much snowballed from there. I jumped around from JUCOs, didn't, left before the season started. I just didn't have my head on right. I had to come home one day and wake up in the morning and my mom's put the Armed Forces brochure on my pillow when I woke up. She told me I had to figure it out. It was either I was going into the service or I was going to figure it out. And ever since then, I've been on a straight path. Needless to say, you didn't go into the service? Nah, I couldn't do it. My father was a serviceman, God rest his soul. But that wasn't for me, man. My father used to jump out of airplanes. I ain't with that. I don't even want to get on a roller coaster. She threatened you with you're going to have to get a job or do something or you can get out of the house. I had to go to school and work or I was going to the service. I had to pick my poison. Wow. There was no other options because I was already getting older. I was already becoming, I'm going to hang out with my friends, come in when I feel like coming in. Right. She couldn't have that. Nah, she didn't have it. I'm West Indian, so that's another reason. She put the hand down. Of course. She put the hand down. So I did that. I went to school. Tried to figure it out. I did some stupid stuff, man. I just didn't know if I was coming and going at certain times because in all that time, Dave, and I tell my kids this, my teammates and my children. Like in all them schools I went to, Dave, I never graduated high school. See how your eyes went up? I never graduated. And you know what's the crazy thing? I didn't graduate because I never passed the history regents. I had all my credits and everything. I just couldn't get by the history regents.
So that regents, like basically that regents held you back.
Yeah, in 1990, when you was in school, if you didn't get past those regents, you couldn't pass it. You couldn't graduate.
That's kind of my story too, because, and actually this is 20 years later, 2010. So 4 days after graduation, it was because of a RCT science.
Yeah.
When everybody else was getting their diplomas, you know, after the graduation, that's when they give you your diplomas if you graduate in June. So after, you know, I got the see you in summer school letter that day. Then I go to summer school and I take the RCT science again and I failed it.
Same thing happened to me.
And then I wound up having to do the night school thing at Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, I went to night school at Jamaica High School. Yeah.
Yeah, so on the day that I'm supposed to take it in January, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the day I'm supposed to take it in January, it snows. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, what's this gonna mean now? Like I worked so hard for this day. Then the next day comes, and long story short, basically it's announced that whoever had to take, you know, the regents on that day, it was gonna be waived. So that's how I graduated high school.
So you know what? The snow was a blessing. So you can't complain about the snow when it snows then.
Yeah, and even now with this remote learning thing, you know, I think if it, like, even though this COVID-19 thing has been deadly, you know, and it's been rough for a lot of people, for a lot of these kids, particularly in the school where I work at now, a lot of them would not be, and this is in all the alternative schools and regular high schools across the city. A lot of these kids may not be graduating without this thing. If you with
100%.
no regents, like without the regents and everything, you know, a lot of these kids would not be graduating. So I'm sure this is an opportunity for a lot of kids, you know, to finally walk across that stage. They're probably thinking, you know, this ain't for me, da 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 da. Like I know it's hard, but this can definitely be a blessing for them if they work for it.
Nah, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. It definitely was. You know, so it was crazy, man. I just did some stupid stuff over and over. I mean, I never got in trouble. I don't smoke. I don't drink.
Yeah.
I just, you know, just running around being silly, man. You know, just doing that stuff. So back to, so I didn't graduate high school. So I ended up getting my GED.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting my GED from Queensborough Community College. And I tell this story because you know how these kids these days say they can't do it, right? Can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. I got my GED. I went on. I got my bachelor's. I graduated with a. I think I had like a 3.5. Graduated with my undergrad, and the same thing with my master's degree. Going back to Billy Turner's. We took it together at Touro. Billy and I took our masters together at Touro. So you can't tell me it can't be done if you don't want to put that foot forward. But I also had a lot of support. When I met my wife, I was just really getting warmed up in college. And she pretty much, you know, stayed on top of me and helped me through the process.
Wow,
that's a lot of support. My brother, because like he's my ace coon boom, like anything, like I'm calling him.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a great story. You know, I hope that whoever's watching this can actually benefit from that story. Well, both of our stories to be exact. Because both of us,
we both had to go through trials and tribulations.
Yeah, you know, because
it wasn't easy, man. It wasn't easy.
But we did what we had to do to get where we had to go.
And it's funny because I actually liked college.
Yeah.
I actually had fun and met a lot of people. Met a lot of people at York. Met a lot of people. I actually met my wife in the hallway at York.
Wow. In college, they say that you meet your best friends. But, you know, did you ever get to play for York?
Nah, I was already working. I was already working for the Board of Ed as a paraprofessional. I was already trying to figure it out. I was working there full time, and I was assistant coach at Molloy full time.
Molloy.
So I was at Molloy College in Long Island, and I was living in Starlight City in Brooklyn.
Okay, so when did you start at Molloy College?
I started at Molloy College like '04.
Okay.
Like '04. And I was there for 4 years, I think. I think I started at Bayside maybe '09, '08, around there.
Mm.
Yep.
So what was it like coaching on the college scene?
I loved it. I loved it. It was great. The only difference was, you know, what made me change my mind really was the hours were bad. You know, at Molloy College, you know, it's a D2. It's a commuter school. It's not really a commuter school anymore because they have dorms. So we weren't starting practice till 7:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't rolling in the house till like 11 p.m. And then I had to get up and do it all over the next day. You know, had a newborn. It was just a lot. So when I had the opportunity to jump ship and actually make some money, because I was making the same, I was making the same money I was making at Molloy that I was when I first started coaching high school. Because, you know, D2s, they don't let people lie to you. You know, them D2s, the local ones, they don't pay a lot, man. Especially for assistant coaches. You know, it took me 2 years to get on payroll as an assistant coach. The first 2 years, I was straight voluntary. And I was all over the place trying to recruit kids, going all over the place, paying my own tolls, doing all that stuff, man.
Mm. Wow. I mean, yeah, I hope that the kids that you recruited appreciated that, because it's a lot, you know, like if you could do that for coaches to do that on the D2 on the Division I level, you know, they're getting paid something. Division 2 coaches and Division 3 coaches are getting pretty much no money at all.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the school and their budgets.
Yeah, the head coaches, a lot of these D2 schools that are local here, they want full-time head coaches, and I know they're not paying six figures.
Right.
I know that for a fact. You'd be lucky if them head coaches, if they're full-time, lucky if they're getting $60,000.
Right.
That's and that's your job. Like, that's your full-time job.
60,000. I mean, I probably won't get into what I'm making at my current job, but
yeah, but you don't.
60K is good. That's a good amount. That's a good amount to live off of if you don't have kids and if you're not married. But if you do have a family, like 60,000 is not enough to survive on, especially not in the state of New York.
A lot of these, you know, I still know a lot of the D2 coaches, and they married, kids, you know, got to spend time at home. It's tough. It's tough because if you're full-time in the D2 and you're local, that means you got to be on campus too. You got to be walking around, seeing what's going on. You got to be at your desk. You know, you got to put in those hours. You can't come and go just for practice.
And then I've noticed that there's not really a lot of Division II schools in the city. They're outside the city, like Long Island, Westchester, you know, and they have really nice campuses too.
Yep. I mean, Queens College would be a monster if it had a better campus.
Well, yeah, Queens College, yeah.
And it'd be a monster because that gymnasium used to be a helicopter port back in the days.
Wow.
If you pay attention,
I mean, I figured it out because it's so long of a gym.
Right. It used to be a helicopter port. Because remember, I'm in the same neighborhood. You know, I've been lucky enough to buy the house back that my parents had. So I live in the house. My family and I live in the house we grew up in. Both of my parents have passed away. But my wife and my daughters, we live in the exact house I grew up in. Wow. And I've been in the same neighborhood, you know, since 1972 when I was born. So I only moved out for a year to Starlight City when I got married, and then we came back to Queens. So I've been here, so I know Queens College. I know Queens College used to be a reform place for kids. Back in the days, it wasn't a school always.
Wow.
So that was a helicopter place. It's Queens College been everything before it was a college.
A reform school. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was an all-boys school where kids lived on campus. I'm talking about before I was born. You know, I do my research because I like to know about my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of stories. You know, there's a lot of stories. I actually know a couple security guards that used to work there. They're retired now. They used to tell me how the school was haunted. At night, they could hear the doors, kids screaming at night and doors slamming, and ain't nobody on campus but them.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going up there past dark.
So basically, after Molloy, you did the Bayside thing.
I was at Bayside. Yeah, I was at Bayside.
So talk about your time at Bayside.
Loved it, because I went to Bayside, so I loved it. I had, you know, was able to bring kids in. Great school academically, really strong. I loved it, man. I loved it. We jumped on the scene. It took us probably 3 years to start really making some noise. I brought in a freshman class that was really good. And then, we always get transfers. I ain't gonna lie to you. We do what we do to get transfers. And we started rocking. I loved it. I didn't want to leave. But it was pretty much my hand was forced, New administration. They wanted to do things their way. And it just wasn't going to work. And, I always worked at construction. I didn't work at Bayside. I used to commute back and forth, but I didn't have a problem with it because I knew the school. Some of the teachers that were there when I was a student there. So I loved it. I would have never have left if my hand wasn't forced. And I had players. Like a lot of people, Hamidou Diallo was with me. He was with me as a freshman. It's funny. He was with me as a freshman. I had Weston Jordan who came over to construction. James who stayed at Bayside and played. He was the only one that stayed. And I told them cats, I said, look, man, I had a bunch of seniors, Austin Williams and Brandon King and Jamal and Magic and Cantrell. I had a lot of seniors that we were riding out. And I told them going into that year, when I found out that things weren't going to go our way and we were looking to move, well, I had already knew I was going to move. I'll explain that to you in a minute. When I realized it wasn't going to work for us no more, meaning, minorities over there the way it should be, I told everybody going into the season, look, I'm out after the season. I'm telling y'all now, I'm out. So if y'all want to transfer now and play somewhere else as a senior, I won't be upset with you. But all you freshmen, I'm telling you now, if you guys want to make a move because I'm moving all of y'all anyway. Y'all not staying here. So I was lucky enough to Wes and Jordan was able to come over to construction. I had already played some pieces over there. Justin Gardner, who ended up going to Concordia to play, 6'7" kid. I had placed him already, so he didn't play for me. He had already played a year. Wes Jordan and Justin Gardner were already playing at construction when I already knew I was moving. So I had already moved those pieces there. Hamidou decided to go to Bound, which was fine. It was best for him. But he was with me as a freshman. Daquace Andrews stayed, and when I left, he went to Thomas Jefferson. I think he ended up being first team All Brooklyn at Thomas Jefferson. Day was a killer. So, like I said, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave at all.
Now, do you think that do you always think about what it could have been at Bayside if things had worked out and administration hadn't forced, things to go down the way it did?
I think we would have had. I think I'd have had maybe 1 or 2 city championships by now. I think I would have had 1 or 2 because I had some real nice pieces over there. We knew how good Hamidou was going to be because I knew Hamidou from when he was little. Hamidou, my wife's best friend was Hamidou's guidance counselor in middle school. And I knew his brother. So Hamidou actually played with me. I had a rising, I guess you want to call it rising 9th grade team, right? 9th. And everybody who was coming to Bayside, I put on that team. We played in Rob Moses' tournament over in Baisley Park.
MTG. And if you look back, you'd have to look, but there's an interview on YouTube somewhere that Rob asks me who was my best player or who's my future. And I tell him in that video, I said, Hamidou Diallo is going to be he's my most talented kid, but he's got to learn how to play some defense. Wow.
This is Hami in the 8th grade going to the 9th grade.
Wow. That kid from Left Rack City that made it big.
Yeah, Left Rack has a lot of pieces, man. A lot of pieces in Left Rack because they just got a lot of ball players out there. I mean, you got Kenny Anderson, Kenny Smith. It's not much more to say. A lot of pieces out there. There's a lot of kids in Left Rack that can play. They just spread out. A lot of kids in Left Rack that go to school in other boroughs, public schools in other boroughs.
So with the kids that you had from Bayside coming over to construction, like the PSAL never tried to veto that?
No, because they came over as freshmen. They were already they came over before the season started.
No, I'm talking about the kids from Bayside that you
Right.
have
They
with you.
transferred over. Nah, they transferred over before the season started.
Oh,
They were
okay.
in the building because I had told them, I had told everybody like in October, like, look, I'm out.
Oh, this was prior to the season. Okay.
Right, this season. So y'all do whatever
Wow.
y'all do whatever y'all want. If y'all can get in to construction, more power to you, because construction is not an easy. Well, you've been to my building, you've seen it, and you
Yeah.
said it reminds you of Eagle.
It does.
It's not, Dave. I'm telling you, it's not an easy school to get into. It's not.
It's very it's highly selective.
And that's the thing. It's a selection school, so it's either they're gonna pick you or they're not gonna pick you. I can go there and be like, yo, I got this kid. He's 6'9" right now.
And administration's not going to care about that.
They're not worried about that, which I'm not mad at them, because our graduation rate's like 98%. I'm gonna do.
Wow. A lot of
I'm saying? We don't have no fights. We don't have no fights. We don't have no metal detectors. Kids wear uniform. It's a public school. The kids wear uniform. You come in at 8:20. You get out at 2. You come in at 8:20. You get out at 2:40 every day. We don't have no split schedule. Seniors get out early if they got their stuff together. Like, we don't have no problems in our building. So I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all, because I'm not stressed out at work. I may be stressed out if I'm going to win or lose a game that maybe I feel I should win. Or maybe if I had that kid right there that tried to get in my building but he couldn't get into, we would have won. But ain't nothing I could do about that. I'm not stressed at all. I love my building. My building is like gold to me. It's like gold. I got 7 years left before I can retire. I'm probably going to put in 10 when my youngest graduates high school. But I'm not going nowhere. And thank God I got 22 years in, because I might be looking at, budget cuts is coming. You don't know what's happening. I might be the last guy on the totem pole. But lucky enough, I'm the number one guy on the totem pole. So I've been there since the second year the school started is when I got my job there. I had worked at, where did I work at in Brooklyn? Park Slope Middle School, 282. And then my wife knew somebody that knew the principal at construction, and they were looking for a gym teacher, and I interviewed, and he loved sports, and he said he heard of me before. So I was good.
Wow. So let's segue into construction. Like, how long have you been there? And talk about, what you've done over there.
Okay. See, I've been in construction. I think I've been there 13 years now. So, yeah, I've been there about 13. No, wait, my daughter's 14. She was born. Yeah, I've been there 13 years, because my daughter had just turned 1 when I started working. When I started working there, my oldest is 14. So I've been there 13 years. I've been coaching there maybe 8 years. Let me see. About 8 years. I've been there about 8 years. We've been good. We've been solid. We've been respectful for the most part. I mean, the last 2 years weren't our greatest, but we were real young. If we have a season this year, we're going to be really good. Got 2 borough championships, couple quarterfinal things, bunch of scholarship players, bunch of kids that went on to school, period. I don't like to tell everybody, because one thing about me, I don't never talk about myself or what I've
done. You're not into self-promotion.
Yeah, I'm not into that. I'm not into that at all. I mean, if you don't know, you just don't know. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I going to the Hall of Fame? No. Am I going to get $7 million? No. Am I going to get the court named after me? No. But, you do it for the kids. But Coach Briscoe and my brother always remind me all the time when I be like, yo, we struggling, whatever. He be like, yo, don't ever forget, we the only coaching staff in PSAL history to win 3 borough championships in a row at 2 different schools.
Wow.
Right? So when you think about that, we've done pretty good. All my kids graduate. I haven't had one kid, even at Bayside, to today at construction, all my kids graduated. I'm not going to say they all went on in college and stayed in college, but, all of them had their opportunities. But I have 100% graduation rate.
Indeed. That's impressive.
It's the only thing that's the thing that's important. I get on these kids all the time. They talking about, yo, I got 75 in gym and whatever in history. That's not good enough. It's not good enough, because once the SAT come out, it don't matter if you got a 75.
And then this year, the NCAA, they waived those requirements. No ACT, no SAT.
Yeah.
So, it should be easy for these kids to get into schools, but because of the fact that these coaches can't be out physically, that hurts them a lot, even more, because they can't really be seen by anybody. And if those kids don't have any tape, that's just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah, it's hard when you don't have film or kids don't play on pretty solid AAU teams. I mean, you know, I talked to some of the kids, you know, that plays for me that don't have the opportunities to play on solid AAU teams. And I'm like, look, man, it's hard because I don't mean to say it, but you're local, man. You're local.
That's true.
You know, you talking about you playing on this AAU team and you only playing in park tournaments. If you play on an AAU team, a solid AAU, you're not playing in the park tournament.
Exactly.
You're not playing in the park tournament. You know what I mean? You may play on your man's team that's playing in the park tournament. If you're really good, be like, yo, let me get some rec in and I'm gonna go play with y'all. But if you good, you traveling. You ain't here enough to play in park tournaments, which sucks though, because you know, these kids these days, they don't want to play in the park. You know, the kids and the guys that are really, really good, the older cats, you learn how to play in the park. You get your bumps and your bruises in the park. You get your basketball taken away. You get it thrown over the fence. You don't get on the court. You know, you get all those things that you don't get.
Yeah, man, that's true. So talk about, you know, coaching Justin Wright-Foreman and Kyle Allman. One made the NBA and is playing for the Utah Jazz, and the other one is playing overseas. You know, talk about coaching two spectacular players like them.
It was easy coaching them to a certain extent, because you knew what you was gonna get from them. You knew that Justin was gonna fill it up. You knew that Kyle was gonna distribute, rebound, play D. Kyle definitely top two defenders I ever coached. Top two that I've ever coached, and I'm talking from. Now I would say top three. I'm talking from Molloy College down to high school. He's top three. Top three. Number one defender I ever coached is the kid Kyle Dongo that played at Rice. That I hit you in that picture you put up when he was in the picture when the Rice won the championship. Kyle Dongo's my man. Played at Molloy College. He's probably the best defender I've ever coached. Wow. And he said he got so good at defense because he always had to guard Keegan Clark in practice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so, you know, it was easy, but it was also hard because I had other guys that could really play, and we only got one basketball.
Yeah.
You know, everything was going to go through Justin. Kyle was his second option, you know, and then everybody else pretty much fell in place. And sometimes we struggled with it, and sometimes we didn't. And the problem, we struggled with it when we ran into Billy at I think it was Lehman or Hunter College, where he beat the shit out of us. We ended up losing by 35. Even Billy went on to win the city championship that year. We had already started struggling with, you know, the basketball, who's going to do what. And that was everybody. It wasn't just one person. We pretty much, you know, everybody banged heads. But I would never take that away. I loved coaching those guys, you know. And it's funny, Kyle was so under-recruited. He was so under-recruited coming. He came over to me from St. John's Prep. And when he came to me, I was just like, yo, there's no way this kid don't have no looks. And Kyle had one offer going into April. It was Dominican College. All of those schools that came in to see Justin, and I told him we was getting 10, 11 schools at a time coming in to see Justin from out of state, from all over the place. And I would tell those coaches, and some of the coaches, they're my friends. Like, before basketball, they're my friends. And I'm like, yo, I'm telling y'all, take Kyle, take Kyle, take Kyle, take Kyle. But everybody had their eyes on Justin. I'm like, there was one point where I knew where Justin was going. And I would tell coaches, look, you're not going to get him. Just take Kyle. You're not going to get him.
Yeah, you were honest with them.
That's the one thing that anybody will tell you about me. Anybody, Dave, anybody. If it's my player or another player, I'm going to tell you the truth. Because either you could do it at that level or you can't. And I'm like, yo, take Kyle. Take Kyle. Oh, no, he's not good enough. Oh, he can't do this. Oh, he can't do that. I'm like, yo, take Kyle.
Most of these guys were assistant coaches, correct?
So there's a few assistants and a few head coaches.
Well, I could say that, assistant coaches, more often than not, they're going to go after, the players that they like or the players that their bosses are telling them to go after.
Right.
So they probably saw more of Justin than they did of Kyle,
Yeah, because of the AAU scene. Another one that Kyle didn't really play on a heavy AAU team.
Right.
So, they saw Justin more on the circuit.
Mm-hmm.
He played with the Wrens with my man Audie. I love Audie to death. I remember when Justin transferred in, because I didn't know Justin. I heard about him because of Wes and Jordan. And they were like, yo, he has some issues at Christ the King. He's not in school right now. He's looking for a school to go to. So Justin came up to the school. I had called his dad. Justin came up to the school and transferred in or whatever it may be. But they had already known him and then when he came in and Audie found out he transferred. I've known Audie because, like I said, my best friend Jamal Robinson played for Audie. But with Riverside and BQ Express or whatever Audie was doing at that time, Audie's been around forever. Audie's one of my favorite people in the world. He's such a great guy. He's such a great guy. And he was like, look, Justin's coming to the school. He got in. He told me he's in. He could do X, Y, Z, and I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. And Audie, he's helped me before with kids. So it was just, they saw him on the circuit. They knew what he could do. It didn't hurt him playing with the Wrens on a circuit in Vegas with a big crowd. He put up 48, and he sat like the last 5 minutes of the game. And he was playing against a kid that ended up going to Louisville. And that's where Justin pretty much took off. And then I tell you, Dave, them schools are coming in, man. And I'm like, yo, just take Kyle. Offer Kyle. And if it wasn't for Tippy helping out, and Kyle went to school 4,000 miles away. Took his team to the tournament. You know what I mean? Player of the year. All that stuff, man. First team, all conference, everything. Kyle turned into a monster, which we knew he would because he had such good skills when he came in. I'm talking about like very, very like his strong chest passes. Everything was sharp with him. Everything was sharp. Back to the basics with Kyle. Everything, his pull up was nice. His sweep through, his head fake. Everything. His game was so tight when he came in. He was already chiseled. It was just a matter of him being on the stage. And, the game that took Kyle off was when we went and we played against Joey. Joey's one of my good friends. Joey coaches at Wadley. Mm-hmm. We played them at the Gaucho Gym. And Kyle
Joe Hunter.
Yeah, Joe Hunter. Yep. He took over for my man Crump. Crump is from Queens. God bless Crump. Yeah. Crump is from Queens. Crump went to Andrew Jackson High School. So I knew Crump for a while, too, through Billy, of course. And Kyle just he had a monster. He had a really good – he almost had a triple-double that game. And that film, that game, and when we played Curtis at South Shore, Kyle had the best game that game. Tippy was there at that game. So off of those two films, Kyle ended up going to Cal State-Fullerton with Tippy's help.
I'm sure that a lot of those schools that didn't want him then regretted it later when he made it to the NCAA tournament.
Well, I remind them to this day when I speak to them. I'll be like, yo, have you seen Kyle lately? Yeah, he's in Europe making six figures.
Wow.
He's chilling. Or even the D2, the local D2s were telling me he's not good enough. And I'd be like, yo, y'all look crazy, man.
Wow.
Y'all look crazy, man. Y'all look crazy. Kid is special, man.
Wow.
It was great coaching them. Man. I remember I had Marlon. I had put all these pieces in place, but Marlon was before Kyle. But Marlon and Kyle went to the same high school. They went to St. John's Prep before they came to me. So, being able to put those guys in places where they succeed is what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Is what you want to do. Marlon ended up, at St. Francis. I don't know why, whatever. And then he ended up going to school out of state and playing. But, being able to put those guys on the stage is great. It's great. But you got to have a pretty good team to be able to put guys on the stage, because if you don't have a solid team, ain't nobody calling you. They're playing a tournament.
Right. So let me ask you, so if you could go back in a time machine to 1990, what would you tell Cory at 17 and 18?
try to stay on the straight path. Stay on the straight path. Stick to what you're doing because you're gonna be all right. Stop listening to everybody who's in your ear. You know, stop listening to everybody because you know everybody's telling you this and telling you that and telling you this and telling you that. But I wouldn't change any of it because I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't change none of it at all, none of it, because I'm able to, you know, let kids know exactly what they have to do to get to where they want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And in that path, and me making all those mistakes I've made, I've met so many people that I can reach out to today as friends, you know, as mentors that have helped me along the way. I've met so many people making those mistakes, which was good for me, which was great for me, actually.
So final question, what's next in the future for Cory Semper and the Construction Red Hawks?
Hopefully we have a season next year. I know it looks glim because we don't really know when we're going back to work, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to try and get a city championship before I retire and get as many kids into college as possible. That's the goal. You get as many kids into college, whether it's free, which we all want, but we want to make sure our kids go to school and better themselves because we're already behind the 8 ball, man. So we got to step our game up, and everybody's got to do it. Everybody's got to do it. One kid can't do it by himself. You know, everybody's got to help build the village for these kids to get on. You know, I've had plenty of coaches reach out to me, and I've reached out to plenty of coaches to help me place kids, and plenty of coaches have reached out to me to help place kids. Other opposing teams, kids have reached out to me helping place kids, which I've done millions of times. So we got to help each other, man. And you know that's the next thing for me, man. Just continue doing what I'm doing, grinding, making these phone calls for these kids, and getting them where they got to be, academically, athletically, whatever it is, man. I try to set that path for them, man, to do the right thing and be good citizens, to be solid.
Well, Cory, thank you for your message. Your story is very inspirational, and I wish you nothing but the best with construction moving forward.
I appreciate it, man. You know me since day one, man. I've always had your back, man. When you was at St. Francis, you write these papers, you up night, and I'm like, yo, Dave, man, just stick through it, B. You're going to be all right. And then you sending me videos of you dunking. So you did all right then. I remember you caught that dunk. Don't forget.
Well, everybody, this is episode 20. You can check this out on YouTube, IGTV, and Facebook. Be blessed, be safe, and if you're in a city with a curfew, stay home, but definitely be safe. Peace.
Peace. Thanks, Dave.